Welcome to a new season of the Cardinals Insider Podcast. A little different look, at least for this month. Life happens here coming out of opening day, but I'm Brett McMillan. Good to be with Joe Pfeiffer and Larry State, our director and manager of alumni relations. We're with you on the first of every month. And something a little different. Normally, guys, we've got an alumni in studio. We've got one alumni and one who's about to be, and Ozzie Smith and Adam Wainwright, kind of talking over Waino's career. We recorded it down in Jupiter. And the thing that stood out to me was I thought a really interesting conversation on defense for pitchers and trusting their defenders. And then also, Adam kind of previewing what he's going to be up to after he retires. And spoiler alert, a little bit of broadcasting, but you guys know Adam a little bit. You certainly know Ozzie, but I think Adam will be a great broadcaster, and I think he'll be a great alumni ambassador, just like Ozzie is, don't you think?
I think he'll be one of a kind. Well, as long as we don't get in the way of his country music career. But hopefully it's time for us after he goes on tour and has his own label. And oh man, what a talent! I was actually talking to some alumni and fans down on the field yesterday, opening day, and all of us we're hopeful that we have one major talent in life, and then there's Adam, who is I think people consider him a potential Hall of Fame caliber pitcher. He's an amazing singer and musician, which is a passion of his, and he's an incredible golfer. So there's three right there. And obviously, we've gotten to know him on the personal side, and he's an incredible father and an incredible husband as well, and the impact beyond baseball that he's made already and will continue to make. And he and Ozzie talk about that also. Is incredible, and I think we'll be ready with our arms wide open with whatever he wants to do on the alumni side. It's been an amazing journey to have a relationship with him since 2005. So Larry and I won't be strangers, and the alumni relations department won't be strangers to Adam when the time comes. So we're looking forward to it.
Well, if he wants to do it, Larry, he will be phenomenal.
Oh, he will be. And yesterday on opening day, from our Hall of Famers to a lot of the other alumni who live in the area here in St. Louis that came to opening day, we see generations of former Cardinals players together, and you think about how that alumni connection spans generations. And so, as you said, Adam, about to become one of the alumni, we see a lot of the older alumni who are here for opening day and do other things, and guys younger than they are. And now knowing that the next generation coming up is going to include Adam, that alumni relations program that we are fortunate to work with is so strong because of those guys. And it is great to think that Adam is now going to be one of them soon.
It's going to be a great way to kick it off. We'll get right to it. Ozzie Smith, the Wizard of Oz, and Adam Wainwright talking baseball here on the Cardinals Insider Podcast.
Adam, here we are in spring training, your last one. Tell me what you're feeling.
Well, my wife reminds me all the time that this is not our last spring training, because she loves it down here, and she goes, "You will be a coach down here, right?" So we'll be down here again and helping out from time to time. I think just as an excuse to come down and be in this great place, and we love Jupiter, and being a part of the Cardinals down here in Florida is just a fun time in our lives. And so it's a from a different standpoint, knowing that it's my last play in spring training, has me asking questions differently, and learning people differently. And hey, tell me about that prospect, not so I can learn my teammates as much as I can learn and find out who's going to be carrying this torch, because when you left it in great hands, and then they left it in great hands, and hopefully I was great hands and leave it in somebody else who keeps that great Cardinals torch burning. And so that's the goal, is to try to leave it as good or better than when I got it. And we've got a ton of guys in there that are going to be perfect for that.
Now, you seem like a leader, as a natural leader. Did you ever put any emphasis on the fact that you wanted to be a leader, or did that just kind of fall into place?
No, I didn't. I think it just kind of naturally happens. When you force it, it's forced. It feels forced, and players don't respond as well, I don't think. And I had to earn that, I had to earn that from from being here and leading by example, learning from the greats that came before me, and studying that, and picking my times to, while those guys that taught me, mentors, Chris Carpenter and those kind of guys. And I just saw one of my old mentors, Braden Looper, just a second ago. What those guys taught me, and then every now and then while they were still there, making sure that, you know, if I saw somebody not doing what they were supposed to do, you know, check them on it and remind them that this was, and I think that sort of like we saw it happen naturally, where they taught me really well. Yeah. And just kind of oozed out into the everyday life in the clubhouse.
To make you feel good, you know, I had a chance to play with Bob Force, and Bob Force, he was that type of guy too, you know, and it happened so naturally. Let's go back a little bit. What do you know now, at the end, that you wish you had known as a rookie?
I think as far as from playing, you know, I know now that I've been here for 18, 20 years in camp with the Cardinals, I know now I should have bought a house down here in Jupiter. Would have saved me a lot of money on rent every year. As far as playing goes, I really wouldn't change a whole lot. Every moment in learning curve brought me to where I am now, and it was more rewarding, kind of learning in the time, you know, learning in those moments, and even sometimes their biggest failures taught me the most, you know. I wouldn't change a whole lot. I wish I could throw a fastball as hard as I used to be able to throw a fastball. But as far as learning and knowing stuff now, I feel like the people that I was around, they kind of kept me within the kind of on the line that I am now and trajectory that I'm now. I never stepped too far outside of that. I was always mindful of, you know, representing the Cardinals well, and so I wouldn't change a whole lot. I don't know if to answer that question, I don't know if I would change anything. I don't know if I would go back and tell myself, if you could do this differently, you know, maybe game 1 of the World Series in 2013. Don't stand up so fast in the Boston dugout, because you'll smash your head. You know, that might be one thing.
That's great. Now, you play with some great corners now, you know, with Arenado and Goldie at first base there. Does that bode a lot more confidence when you have somebody back there like that?
Yeah, and, you know, I'll tell you, I've been through teams where we were great defensively, and I've been through teams where we were really, really bad defensively. And as a pitcher, especially me, I pitch one way. You know, I try to keep the ball on the ground, get ahead in the count, get strikeouts when I'm ahead in the count, keep my pitch counts down, have quick innings. You know, those are the ways that I have success. But a few years back, we had some really poor defenders behind us, and it made it a little tough. Because, you know, you didn't really know where you wanted them to hit the ball. Now it's
so you're pitching around. You're pitching around.
Well, and there might be times, and I hated this. You know, you hate to admit it, but you turn around and you go, all right, I don't feel really confident in this pitch right here. That even though I know it's the right one, because the result, I think, is going to be put into a position where my defenders are not in a great spot. Whereas right now, and that's bad to say. I know that might be really bad to say, but it's just the truth, the way a pitcher thinks, and everyone knew it. But the way I think of it now, and I told Harrison Bader this last year, I said, man, I got into a 3-1 count today where I knew I could not put anybody on base. I didn't want to be too fine. The umpire was really tight. I knew I had to come more onto the plate than I wanted to with a good hitter out there. And then I turned around and I looked at our defense and I said, as long as I keep this guy in the yard, these guys are going to catch the ball. And that was a wonderful feeling. And I turned around and I made a great pitch. The guy got out right away, didn't even hit it hard, but it was that mindset where I turned around and I had the confidence behind me to know that, you know, these guys are going to make the play. I can attack this hitter. I can be super aggressive, and these guys are going to take care of it. Just like when you played shortstop. For so many pitchers, they knew they wanted that ball hit to you every time.
That's good. Now, how does it make you feel when they call you a throwback? Now, you mentioned that a few minutes ago about, you know, being able to pitch to to guys that you know you have confidence in? When they say throwback, how does that make you feel?
Well, what that makes me feel like is the guys I grew up watching, Smoltz and Gladys and Glavin and Maddox and all the great pitchers of that era that were, their goal when they took the ball, the first pitch of the game was to throw the last pitch of the game. They were gonna take their team as long as they could into the game, and they were pitchers, they weren't throwers. So I take that as a tremendous compliment. If I'm a throwback, I'm somebody who's pitching out there. I'm a pitch maker, and that's a great compliment to me.
Yeah, you know, now you're well known for your charity work and stuff. Does it, as you wind down here now, does your charity stuff, does that change?
No, it won't change. I don't know what my role at Big League Impact and how that changes, because I feel like there needs to be a lot of leadership in the game as it's playing right now with Big League Impact. But from charity life, from my wife and I and our family, it's a part of life. It's a way of living, and it's a way of giving. You know, it's we live to give. You know, honestly, we've been given a tremendous platform and a lot of resources to go out and help a lot of different people, and we love doing that. We always will. Okay,
to wrap up here, where do you go from here? What's next on the horizon? Do you want to coach? You want to manage? You want to what is it that Adam Wainwright wants?
No and no.
No and no.
No and no,
yeah.
Except for down here in Jupiter, maybe.
I think I love to coach. I do. I love to teach the game of baseball, but I also would love to stay married and be a great dad. And I don't think the hours the coaches put in, it's just remarkable. It is amazing that it is a labor of love. These guys are at the field 10, 11 in the morning, and they're there till midnight every single day. And it is.
They're actually here longer than they were as players.
Oh, 100%. 100%. If I was going to, I'd just keep playing if it was, you know,
right.
But I think for me, what I would love to do, I do want to call some games. Okay. I would love to stay in the game that way, calling some games. I have fun up in the booth. I love doing that. But not an everyday, every game, all week long type of thing.
On the road.
No, I've lived that life. I've got some music ahead of me.
Oh yeah. We didn't talk about that.
I've got some music ahead of me. I do. I've
got some new tunes.
I've got an album coming out this year, mid-season.
Look at you.
Look at you. We'll see. The fans will let me know how much music I have ahead of me, actually. But I think we're making some cool stuff, and it's going to be neat to see what goes on there. Other than that, you know, I'm going to be coaching my kids and teaching my kids, and I'm basically a professional Uber driver with them in the off seasons and when I can during the season, taking them from place to place. I have 5 children, and they always have stuff on the opposite sides of the town from the other one at the same time. And so Jenny and I, we pass each other on the highway, going back and forth. But I love being that. My favorite title in the world is dad, and I can't wait to be a professional husband and dad the rest of my life.
Well, thank you, Adam. Let me say this here from a personal standpoint. It's been great watching you do what you do. You've been a total professional. You know, I just can't say enough about how much I've appreciated getting to know you through the years, and good luck this year.
You too,
I know it will be a good one, and we're all looking forward to it.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed Ozzie and Adam, guys. I could listen to both those guys tell baseball stories forever. They remind me a lot of each other. I'm just struck by that as I listen to that as well. Both really affable, both really well spoken. And I don't know if you guys think about it this way, but there's always like that figurehead of the alumni, right? All our alumni are great. All of them are important. But I think Stan kind of handed the torch to Red a little bit, maybe to, I guess you could say, Lou or Bob, and then now Ozzie is kind of that guy that is kind of the workhorse for us, to borrow a baseball term. And someday I think that Adam has the potential to be that guy too, although he played along Albert and Yachty, who certainly were great. But we're just blessed with so many great alums like we talked about at the top.
Well, we are. And what you heard them say, not only are those 2 of the guys, Adam about to be one of them, that people will see as some of those leaders, but they talked about the respect for who came before them and handing it off, just like you mentioned.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, the torch has been passed. Ozzie is the face of our alumni programming and the Cardinals Hall of Fame, and well deserved. And it also takes that player to be engaging. Our arms are always wide open for all of our guys, but we don't want to force something that is unnatural to a player. And Ozzie is engaged at a level that is so incredibly high. And I envision that Adam will take that approach when the time comes as well. We're incredibly fortunate. To Larry's point, the generations that we have that never played together. Whitey didn't manage a lot of those guys. And Whitey told us yesterday on opening day that he is going to make the journey to Cooperstown for production this year to be there for Scott Rowland. That's how much respect he has for Scott Rowland. He never managed Scott Rowland. So how cool is that?
That's awesome. Well, guys, this was fun. A good way to kick off the year. We're back again on the first of every month throughout the entire summer. 6 episodes. We'll have alumni that we chat with, and it really is always a good time. You can check us out on YouTube, cardinals.com/podcast, or you can listen anywhere that you get your podcast. For Joe and Larry, I'm Brett. We'll catch you next time on the Cardinals Insider Podcast.